UK Games Expo is coming up super soon and we can't wait. What tips do we have to maximise your time at the show? Hi, I'm Livy, this is Julian, and together we are BoxedMeeples, and as you just heard, we are going to the UK Games Expo again, and we can't wait.
Ooh, this is like Board Game Christmas for us. To be honest, we get so excited about this all year, and it's days away now, and we are already planning what we're taking with us, what we're going to do there, and how we're going to maximise our time there.
So we have already done a video about the top 10 games that we are looking forward to seeing a little bit more about whilst at the show. So if you've missed that one, we will link it and you can go ahead and look at those games. So we're not going to rehash and talk about those games. We're going to talk about all the other bits and bobs.
More the kind of experience that you have while doing that. And we had a fantastic time last year.
We came home with quite the haul, didn't we?
Yes, you might have seen our video already of our table full of games.
Yeah.
And a lot of those came from the Bring and Buy, which is always kind of what we first talk about when we talk about this. Now, what is fantastic about this is there's so many people bringing games that they don't want, they've outgrown, or they have, just don't play it anymore. And obviously these are then sold from their collection, and we can go in and buy essentially second-hand games. And there's some bargains to be had.
There really is. And that's fine. We all have different tastes. We all move to different genres, or we have children of a certain age where a game is suitable for them, and then they get older. So why not let somebody else have all that joy and love from that game? If you're trying to hone your collection in order to get new things in, and there's only so much space on these. Sometimes on these you can do. So
things have to go. Now we've said already the best approach to having success in the Bring and Buy is regularity.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there is like a thing on the website you can go through and you can see what people have checked in, how, and things like that. So if you're looking for a specific game, then you can keep checking up on that. I mean, our technique is probably to sort of run around it several times a day like maniacs.
There is often the advice, it's the first place you go to when you get there, and I think that is true, because obviously the best bargains are then snagged, but there is a constant flow of games appearing in there. So what we'd actually say is go in and then check the front desk. It may not be exactly set up as it has in previous years, but there's a desk in the middle, and the rows of kind of shelves behind that.
Yeah.
And that's where the new games coming out to go on the shelves arrive.
Haven't made their way to the shelf yet.
And that's where you certainly found one of your biggest bargain buys last year on that. So often you're if you see them being loads on there, you're the first person to get eyes on that. But just kind of go in there without expectations. Yeah,
that's what we do. I mean, obviously there's loads of games that we're maybe hoping that we might see there. It would be great if we did, but I think sometimes it's something that takes you by surprise, that you'd sort of forgotten that you were looking at a while ago, and then all of a sudden it's a great prize, or you've missed a Kickstarter and someone's shrink wrapped like a whole massive stack of it, and you're playing the same as you would, or maybe less. And obviously great.
With these you're not paying tax, you're not having to pay postage. So often, games that we have trouble getting in the UK might be there from people who've imported it and, outgrown it or moved on from it, or just never got the play they wanted to, and has thought, well, there's still some money to be made out of this.
Yeah.
One person's trash is another person's treasure, and there might be something in there you've looked for years for that you just stumbled across this grail game.
Yeah. Do remember that people, obviously, we all get there in the morning, and then the people that are bringing games in, obviously the first thing they're doing to lighten their load is going to queue to drop all those games off. So if you're going there to look around the shelves first thing, there's probably a load of people queuing, waiting to bring their stuff in. So I think it's probably better to have a quick do something else and then go in that little bit later, so people have had a chance to actually drop things off. Another tip is, I mean, certainly last year you weren't allowed any bags in there whatsoever. The smallest kind of purse bag, nothing. An empty bag to carry the games in that you're taking away, nada. So you do need to either go in combo and leave possessions with somebody else, or
they have the cloakrooms there you can use. But it is worth being mindful of that. And also you need cash. We've talked about this in the past, but they do not accept credit cards because it's just too complicated to then we give out the money to people who have bought them in.
Well, they would have to charge extra in order to take the fees from the credit card providers, so then everyone else is then end up paying more for their game. So if you are looking to bring and buy, make sure you do bring cash. But there are cash machines around. If something catches your eye, then you can tell someone to run off and get the cash.
Grab me some cash, I'm guarding this treasure.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Julian won't find anything because he's a bit of a Scrooge, and I can like dip into his budget and then just reimburse later, because I'm always the one that finds the big games.
Well, in contrast to that, you have said budget, and I think it is important you don't get carried away with, you know, all of the great things that you're seeing in there. I've in the past said, okay, this is my cut-off, this is what I'm spending on the whole of the expo, and I'm doing that again this year, and trying to stick to that, because often there's so many things in there and you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't got that one yesterday, because now suddenly this game I've always wanted is here and it's available and I just have run out of cash. It's always important to kind of keep in mind, you know, what you've spent, and I think having cash does allow you to do that.
It does, yeah. So what games are you sort of thinking that you might find in there?
I'm kind of reluctant to say, because then it's transmitting, you know, telegraphing what, but I think things that are consumable, that I play once, are always going to be in the bring and buy. So we've played recently some bits of Micro Macro Crime City, so I'd love to find and have one of those, because once people played it, theoretically they're done with it, they can pass it on. With things like this, you do have to remember that they are going to be second hand, so there's a chance that sometimes things might get marked. Don't buy a legacy game there because it would have been used. But you know, that should be reflected in the price.
I will say that our experience of having bought and bring and buys, like obviously we bought last year, I bought at Aircom, we've bought at different places, that sort of situation. We have always found that all the components are in there, and people that have been playing these games have kept them in great condition and really taken care of it. Obviously you see some people in the corner checking everything before, and don't blame them, but I will say, you know, as a community, hopefully everyone appreciates that you want a whole game, and that's good.
And it's a nice atmosphere. I think some people have been a bit wary with it being very busy now, obviously during the COVID era, that's sensible, but it's not a case of people barging or shoving. We certainly haven't experienced anything like that, and it's not a case of people stealing things out of your arms or nothing like that. In most, we've had people being envious of what we found.
Are you sure you want that one? No, but hold on. Do you really want that one?
It's like the whole expo. It's just really friendly, and you know, it's not something to be intimidated by. It's not a bargaining system. It's not you have to make bids or anything like that, and it's just a kind of friendly place to find some real gems. So there's a reason why people talk about it a lot. It is one of the big events we look forward to at the expo.
Yeah. Another thing you enjoyed last year was some of the big talks and things.
Yeah.
So you went to the Shut Up and Sit Down show, didn't you?
Yeah.
And had a fab time there.
So some of these are going to be ticketed events, and you need to get onto that yesterday.
Yeah.
Because all of the big events have either now sold out or getting very low on numbers, and these are very strict on, if you don't have a ticket, you don't come in. There's no leeway here. But for the non-ticketed events, again, these get busy quickly. So look on the website at all of the events that are going on, and what you can do on the website is mark which ones you're interested in, and it does build a kind of schedule for you. When it says it starts at, say, 1 o'clock, if it's going to be busy, you need to be there at 12, because it's a kind of first come, first seated basis. And if it's something you really want to be involved in, you're going to be kind of towards the front of that queue, because as with the ticketed events, if there's no space for people in there, you don't get to go in. So be mindful of that. If it's something you really want to do, set a time, be there for before it starts.
Get your lunch in there.
Yeah, and obviously ones like you know, Shut Up and Sit Down are going to be busy.
Yeah,
so
they will be.
You need to be mindful of that. But there's some really fantastic talks going on this year about game design. We've got kind of people like Ian Livingston talking, and I've met him a few times. Really great hearing about the development of Games Workshop and some of his early video games. There's tutorials I've seen on games. I'm keen to find out about people showing on big screens how to play these games.
Yes, I think that you said that there's a tutorial for the Undaunted Battle of Britain going to be going on, so we are super interested in going to that one because it's one of the games on our 10 list. Yeah. Spoiler warning if you've not watched that one yet.
But, just be aware there's lots of things that are going on, and also there's kind of big events that are going on. We've got some new screenings of films going on, big kind of those big social deduction games going on.
If Aircon's anything to go by whatsoever, there's going to be a lot of blood on the cocktail being played. I mean, that would seem to be in sort of every crevice and corner throughout the show at Aircon, and I imagine it being as big.
Yeah, so
this time.
Be better for that. But obviously, if you want to see a demo of a game, best way to do that is on the show floor.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone's there to show off their games, aren't they? And really get everyone interested and enthusiastic about those new things. So it's always fun to look around all that everyone has. Obviously, there's lots of our local gaming stores there. Some of them might be your friendly local gaming store, so have a look around there in terms of what they've got, what offers they've got. There's obviously some bargains to be had and some bits and pieces on sale, but also there's other bits and pieces as well, some board game adjacent stuff. So we might want some new dice trays, or we might want and t-shirts, or I'm interested in going to Folded Space as well, so because get a few more bits and pieces for there, or some other ones. I've seen some nice sort of like wooden laser cut ones for Arnak and things like that, just to help with storage and things. So there's lots of things around the halls being exhibited.
I had a fantastic time last year collecting all the bits I needed for the kind of cheese expansion for viticulture. I'll be going back to Board Game Expo today and getting more cheese for First Rat, because I like kind of those weird quirky bits. But we certainly on the kind of the fringes of the main exhibition halls, you just get these interesting kind of merchandising shops, and it might be for something for a favourite game, or it could just be something quirky you never even anticipated you needed. Card holders, for example. Who knew you needed those? And suddenly you go, how have I coped without that in my life? And there's often that we keep saying it. The unexpected surprises are, what you enjoy taking back, and we certainly picked up a few of those last time. Yeah,
and some of the experience things that they have going on. I know they have like a whole cosplay thing that happens. There's the Viking Village, which is outside of some of the main halls there, which you can go pop up, and they're sort of camped there the whole weekend, and sometimes they surprise us all and come into the halls like a Viking horde running through, which is always quite fun. And obviously there's a lot of gaming to be done at a games convention. There's libraries there, isn't there? Some that are in the main halls, and also some over in the Hilton, which also has outside some of the food truck section. So don't miss that if you're feeling a bit peckish.
I mean, playing games is what you're going here to do. And obviously in the main exhibition hall, you have people who have practiced these games and are trained to talk about these games really efficiently. So if you want to learn how to play a game, these are the people to teach you, because they know these games. And also they've been demoing them for potentially 3 days, so they know everything about these. It's hard to get onto some of the games in the exhibition hall, of course, because often there's a big queue of people, particularly for new games or popular games. So it is hard to get a place on those tables. But we always say the event doesn't end when the main exhibition halls closes.
Absolutely not. No. And for me, who's going to spend most of the weekend working, once those halls shut,
it's cool when it starts.
That's when it starts. Exactly. So we'll be going over to the games library. So you basically play a deposit, you get a library card, and you can take out a game, take it over to any of the tables that are there, and just get it out and start playing. So if potentially it could be one that you've learnt from someone earlier in the day. I will say that in the main halls, if you're there quite late, because I think they're open till about 11, everyone says, oh my gosh, you're at a convention, it's going to be so hot, just round in a t-shirt, you'll be sweltering. Very true in the daytime. If you're planning on staying there till 10, 11 at night in this hall where people are thinning out, it does get cooler. So maybe some layers for those that do feel the chill, or head over to the Hilton where the air system is more temperature controlled, so we say.
Now, you might be concerned, say you're going to the expo on your own, and we're talking about, it's going to be fantastic, we're going to go and meet people and play with our friends. What if you're on your own and you don't know anyone? Well, the good news is, everyone at this expo really loves board games. You have that in common with them. They don't just love board games a little bit, they love board games so much they've paid money to go into a room surrounded by board games. You have something in common. It's easy for me to say because obviously I'm often with Libby, but there's times when we're out and about on our own at these conventions, and we do have to go up to people and say, is it okay if I join you? For me, not once has anyone ever said no.
No, and for me, that's something that makes me feel very nervous. And for you, that sort of situation you're a bit more confident in. So I can understand that seems very daunting to a lot of us. But I will say that my experience at Aircon, same group of people, it's all us gamers, and I was so welcomed in because you weren't able to come.
No.
With friends that said, yeah, come back and play some games with us. Oh yeah, we're all going over to this hotel to play a big giant Just One. Come with us. And it was fantastic to feel like you're sort of enveloped into the community. And that's one of the things we love about this gaming community, all the friends that we've managed to make, both in person and online, people that we haven't yet been able to meet. But it is such a great community. They do have systems there saying, do I need someone else to help play the game? Are we looking for more players and things like that? So do look over and see whether you can see how that system's working, and either get a game out that you want to play and pop one of those flags or cardboard notices, whatever they're doing this year for that, or see if someone else is playing something that's got the looking for players sign up, and just head over and see if you're able to join them.
Yeah, it's daunting, but it is worth it. And that kind of daunting bit is fleeting, and you'll make friends. We have every time we've played this.
Yeah.
If you happen to bump into someone, say on day one, and you'll meet them again next day and play more games with them, which is certainly been our experience that we've had.
Yeah.
But if you're really good at a game, take advantage of that, because there are lots of tournaments that are going on throughout the whole of the weekend where you can not only win cash prizes, but even just taking part will mean you get promos. Some of these have got an entrance fee, of course, but if you're really good at something, this is your time to shine.
Yeah. I mean, they often do crokinole and wingspan competitions, and there's a whole list of them on the website, so head over to there to see if your preferred game is being included in such tournaments, and seeing whether it's not quite the World Series of board gaming, but it's a lot of fun, and you'll see a lot of people trying to sort of play their way to the top.
Yeah, so these are often in the third hall, but around the kind of main halls, the exhibition halls, you'll also see kind of mini tournaments going on with different publishers or prizes can be won. So it's always just keeping an eye on those sort of things. They're often advertised around as you're walking around, so you'll see those. Yeah,
I know for a fact there's going to be, I think 11 o'clock, there's going to be some dodo tournaments going on at the Cosmos stand, and you definitely do not need any experience to be included in that. It's going to be very silly and embracing the ridiculousness of the wibbly wobbly egg in that game. But yeah, do pop by and give it a go and see if you can be the fastest.
Yeah, and if you happen to want to meet us, the Cosmos stand is obviously a good place to head towards if you're keen to, challenge us to a game maybe, or set time in the evening when you want to play a game with us. But what happens if you're hungry? Where'd you go?
Well, I've said about the food trucks already, which I think are outside the Hilton section. There is also food inside the main halls. You've got some bits and pieces there. Yeah.
Short walk away, you can get all your kind of mainline kind of not quite takeaways, but they're kind of Nando's and Chiquitos and those sort of places.
Yeah, in the Resort World section,
Resort World.
There's several restaurants there.
I would recommend trying to obviously go there when it's not traditional eating times.
Yeah, it does get very busy. There's a lot of people wanting similar things at the same time. We all want something filling and fast to get us back to gaming.
Yeah, if you're heading there immediately after the event's ended, there's going to be queues. You just have to accept that. So either obviously plan to eat earlier, avoiding that kind of really busy period, or just accept that there's going to be queues and it's going to be busy. But yeah, all those food options are around there. There are places you can take food in, picnic style food, and you can have those out where the Viking village was. You can eat out around there. But you don't really want to lay yourself down with too much food. But do take a water bottle with you when you're walking around.
Yeah,
obviously during the day.
That's key.
Keep hydrated.
There are several sort of cafe kind of things around the edges of the halls where you can get sort of sandwiches and bits and bobs, drinks and things like that, obviously. But yeah, I think taking some water is a wise idea because it can get warm in there.
So is there any games you're particularly excited about picking up while you're there?
Well, we don't have the second expansion for Dune Imperium yet, so I do want to pick up the Immortality one, and that sort of completes that because we have the Ix one, so that would be interesting. I mean, if there happen to be some sort of upgrades that are super on sale or something, that would be fun too. I am interested. You were talking about some Star Wars things in our previous video about the 10 games, but I am also interested in the more recent the Star Wars deck building game, to have a look at that and see whether I could pick that up at a sort of bargain price. Might be interesting. I did almost bite the bullet at the sort of May the 4th be with you sales, but haven't quite gone that. So that would be interesting. And one that maybe I'd find at Bring and Buy, or maybe I'd find in the halls. Spirit Island's been high on my list. Av has a lot of the Lacerda games I would like to own. So whether they're Bring and Buy, whether they're in the halls at a reasonable price, I'll be on the lookout, shall we say.
We're going back to the kind of budget thing we said. Last year you had them in your hand and you were like, oh, I've already spent quite a bit. Do I want to buy this as well?
Yeah, I mean, so I did pick up Rising Sun. I got successes. I did get quite a few big games last year. If you want to see all our games that we got last year, we have a haul video. go check that out. But yeah, what are you looking for?
We've talked a lot about Boop.
Yes,
I've been playing it a lot online. I would quite like a physical copy of that, but it's been a bit tricky to get hold of. Similarly, there's a game called Spots. The kind of smaller games I quite like to pick up.
Family friendly ones, for sure. We could play them with family. Yeah,
I'm hoping. Often, that you kind of kick yourself for not kicking Kickstarter games. So things like Cape of Europe I didn't back, and I'm kind of regretting that. So hopefully that'll be in the Bring and Buy or available to buy at a reasonable price. I really wish I bought something we played last year, and I could have got it then. So You've Been Eaten, deluxe version.
Deluxe though you want, because I almost picked it up from Essen for you as well. But
we played it, really enjoyed it. I wish I picked it up last year. So fingers crossed we can find a deluxe version of that. And just kind of other games that have been on my most wanted list for a long time. LA City of the Angels I'd like to find in the Bring and Buy. And again, that's a kind of game with cases. So theoretically, once you've played it, maybe someone will want to move it on. That'd be an opportunity to get that. There's lots of games, but we've said lots of time. The unexpected treats.
Yes, yeah.
In First Rat, never heard of. We kind of impulsively played it, absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
So, those games. Last year I played Dinner in Paris and really enjoyed that.
We hadn't heard of that one before we went to the expo. So it's those surprises that we're hoping to find. I think
I would just walk around and see which people had spare tables, because I spent a lot of my time last year on my own during the day while you were still working, and it was like, well, there's a spare table there, and I go up and say, do you need another player? And what's nice is, when I'm particularly playing that, is no one else English was their first language, so I was with an Italian couple and a French guy. So it's often a case of me trying to reiterate what some of the rules were after it had been explained. I did have necessarily a bit of a home field advantage there, but I don't think I won, so it didn't help me out too much.
No, I remember that you didn't.
It's just, I would just see an opportunity and play it, and there's particularly, in the fringes of the halls or in the second hall, you see these smaller independent publishers who just want their game to become a thing, and they're always super enthusiastic about sharing it with you. And those unexpected things are kind of what I'm looking forward to most.
Yeah, and we haven't actually spoken about the playtesting area, which is great if you want to go down and definitely be able to. I mean, everyone there playtesting their games is wanting people to go, be able to sit down, play the game, give them their thoughts and opinions, so they can sort of fine-tune their games and see where they're going in terms of design and stuff. So that's always a great area to go and have a play at something new and different that not many people have had a chance to play before.
But do remember Compliment Sandwich. This is their baby. So don't go in there and just tear it apart. Say what you like first, then give some feedback, then say you love it. Because this means the world to them, so much so they're going to an expo to show it. So don't burst their bubble quite so much if you get a chance. But it's obviously something we are really looking forward to going to again this year.
We can't wait.
And if you do see us there, please do say hello.
Yes, if we're free, we're more than happy for you to come and join us at a table.
What tips do you have for Games Expos, not necessarily UK Games Expos, but Games Expos as a whole? Please put it in the comments below, maybe something we haven't thought of or something we should start doing ourselves.
Yep.
Share the knowledge, share the wealth with the community.
Yeah, and we will be doing daily vlogs from the show, so if you are interested in more content about the UK Games Expo, do ring that bell for notifications and maybe even subscribe to the channel if you're not already. That would be fantastic.
But as always, thank you so much for watching.
Bye!